just turn it on again.
So that we make it a pressure.
Okay, that's enough. Yes. You go too far, you haven't got anything else to go back to.
So we need to know the volume of the yoke. So the volume of this yoke will be different. This one, just the amount of pipe or the size. But the importance of knowing the volume of the yoke is to calculate the flow that will go through this line. I will tell you about the line in a minute. Sample is collected during 24 hours. Yes? 24 hours has how many minutes? It's 24 times 6 is
1,440.
hmm?
1,440.
Yep. This is milliliters. 1,440 minutes. Yep. So that will be how many milliliters per minute? Can you work it out? Flow. So this is in the front of the nose, no, of the ship. We want this to be with a flow sucking air at a rate of 0.44 milliliters per minute. Yes? If we don't have a restriction, the restriction is this little tiny capillary. If we don't have that, the yolk will be full. I mean, the baking will go in few minutes. And the flow of air. As soon as I remove that, it's restricting the air going. If the line that everybody will make one, at least, is not well tight, there will be like a leakage, yes, and it will also be full in less than 24 hours. So we have to reduce the flow of the original tubing from 6.4 to 0.4. The way we do that is by crunching, compressing the capillary to the level that we want. Yes? So just also, the capillary is quite a, this is what I call the capillary. It's quite a delicate tubing. If you cut it with a common plier, side cutter, you will crunch, you will close the capillary. So you need a tool that is for cutting capillaries. It's this one. It's just cutting the piece.
The background behind the technique is universal. It's just how the technique is applied. All you need in this is an evacuated canister, a restriction tube, and a bolus emitting SF6, and then the GC to analyse it. How you get from capturing the animal's head to a canister anywhere on the animal's body, that's personal choice, or whatever's easiest for you. And so if you've got cattle with really long horns, you might not be able to get a yoke around their necks. You might have to go for something under their neck or something on their back. You might not be able to get it on their back because they might kick you when you're trying to put something on them. So it's all down to what's best for you locally.
This is the parts for making a line. And once you've built the line, you put it on the halter in a way that it's on the nose and this goes to the yoke. Yes. Each little, each nut has something that is called a ferrule.
There's a bigger version just to make
yes.
it's easy to see.
Yeah. So these pieces, when you put them in the tube, like this, they are loose. Yes. The job of that little piece is that when you tight both parts, it will close over the tubing and it becomes a seal, because when you connect it, it fits really nice into the other part, and that's what makes the seal. This doesn't need no ring or anything. This is the sealing, this bit.
So the other thing to point out, these ferrules are single use only. Once you tighten them up, you can't reuse, but you can open and close the joint again, but you can't reuse them if you want to cut them off. Okay. So what you have to do is you unscrew the joint, slide the nuts back, cut the ferrules off the pipe, and reuse the nuts and the fitting. You have to buy or use a new ferrule set within each component.
Yep.
The other warning on the plastic tube is do not over tighten, because the ferrules can cut the plastic tube.
Yep.
They are always designed to work on metal tubing and adapted to work with the plastic tubing there. I think there are different companies that tell you different, and so I believe on all the fittings we're working with today, you do them up to finger tight and then you turn them 3/4 of a complete turn, and that's what the company deem as completely sealed. If you over tighten it, it has the potential for crushing your pipe and splitting it.
The valve that connects to the yoke has the same kind of sealing. It's called ferrule. So that's my line. It's supposed to be well sealed. And now the next step will be crushing it. Cutting this is just cutting.
It needs to be above 5 centimetres and below, and ideally below 10. You can have one that long, but you're just wasting capillary tube. Yeah. And if it's any less than 5 centimetres, crushing it in a vise is difficult, so aim for about 10, 12 centimetres.
Okay.
So I will just...
Have you connected already?
No.
It's already connected.
Don't use it.
It's okay. It doesn't need to be squeezed.
Oh, like you said.
Okay. So they're good at reading.
Work on those, on that one.
Slowly.
It should go to.
Don't go anymore.
Yeah.
It's 0.45.
Oh,
That's not bad.
this is good.
But by
And this one will go into that hole.
Don't you know she has already
better country than South
applied
Africa.
for a Kenyan passport?
Oh, that's good that this is not inside. I've done it. And then the ship gets sold out.
The capital is not.
It's okay. It's perfect. Yes. You want to bridge the Good. Are you sure compressor?
No, that's a good one.
So yeah, it's good to go.
You can hear that one leaking immediately. Yeah.
If the yolks are good, they should have hold the vacuum for the whole weekend. Usually, well, at least in New Zealand, we evacuate them and keep them for a week.
Okay.
But hope we get
Number 2.
Make it loose. So as long as this doesn't fall down, so maybe this need to be tied a little bit. It's quite important the halter doesn't go off. And make sure it's loose underneath so the animal can eat easily. It's much easier to handle the animal between your legs than she's really under control. She doesn't want to go. I don't think there should be a rule. If the valve goes here or behind, it really doesn't matter. Make sure the line is as protected as possible. Something like this line will get caught easy. Yeah? So maybe give it another round. And now just tie it with cable ties.
Another quite useful thing to record is if you've got halter numbers. So if there's a problem, you can identify it back to the halter as well. So we've numbered the canisters, but we can also put a sort of Tipex type mark on the black head collars, so you actually know what animal's got which head collars, and if you've changed anything, so you can look at your pressure differences day to day. It's always worth having a check. I say when we're using cattle, we let them out into a small holding pen. So worst cases you have to run them back round, but the ideal scenario is you look at them, give them 5 minutes, make sure they're all fine. They're not fighting, it's not like anything's going to get broken, and then we can let them back out into the field. But as you can see, it's not affected their slight irritation when they're eating. It's an annoyance, it's not causing pain. And the other thing is if you do see any signs of sores and that, you treat them straight away, or you take them off that animal. Oh, and yes, we also must deploy the 2 background or ambient samples. So ideally they need to be as close to the within the same area, the sheep grazing. And
why don't you just put it on an animal without the also? Then that would be moving around the animals, should be measuring the background.
You can do that. You can have one with samples from sort of at the back of the
On the
animal.
back, yeah.
Because here we have one sheep which hasn't got a bolus. Yeah. It is a possibility. It's what works for you.
It's a very good suggestion.
But as long as you can ensure that if it's open to the atmosphere, it's not going to get filled with rain or dirt. Because if you block it, you you've lost it. So when you're deploying the ambulance, ideally off the ground and above and out of the way of the animals. So if you tie them on the other side of a fence, the animals are inside and the ambulance are on the outside. The chances of a sheep standing here all day breathing on it are very slim.
Because you're eating around here.
It doesn't matter. This is why you do two. This is why you do two ambience. You'll have one on the other side and then you'll take the average. Not too close to the manure. Not too close to the manure.
behind you.
So again, it's important to see, look at your surroundings. If there's a slurry tank right next to you, keep your ambient. Yeah, that's good.
This was with goats.
Yeah, it's
You will lost a
I
background.
definitely.
So just put a post 1 meter away from the fence. Cattle do the same.
Yeah, my ones for cattle I leave on the floor a metre back outside the fence.
About the level of the animal.
Oh.
This should be around the height of the animal. We want the sample that we are yoke removed from the sheep today. It's been 24 hours collecting gas samples from the sheep. So we want the pressure to be around, according to that gauge, minus 50 kilopascals. So I want to make sure you understand why we only use 50% of the volume in the yoke. Yes? Sometimes you think, oh, we should use 100%, no? To have a better sample, to have more collection. But if we use all the vacuum in the yoke, today we will have a pressure of an ambient pressure. We use all the vacuum in the yoke. Yes? Yes, true, we will have more samples, but you will not be able to tell if the line that collects the sample has a leakage, because this ambient pressure could be due to a breakage in the line, and the whole vacuum was used in 5 minutes as soon as the ship went out to the pipe. So we need to have a way of indicating us that the line that collects the sample is working the 24 hours. So we aim for it's our range.
Sorry, can I just jump
Sorry.
in? Sorry to interrupt, but also the reason that you don't want the vacuum to go down to zero is that you actually don't have a linear decrease all the way through the vacuum, do you? You actually have an attenuation of the rate of the vacuum draws on once you get below about 50%. So what the SF6 principle is based on is that you have an absolutely constant rate of draw and a constant rate of influx into the container. So if it's not constant all the way through, you no longer have a representative sample of your sampling period. Sorry,
So if we have, in theory, we are starting around here, no? Yes. But after 24 hours, this is minus 90. After 24 hours, we have a vacuum of minus 80. That means there was a blockage in the line. We aim to have it between minus 60 and minus 40. Yes? That's like the ideal collection. It means that flow went at the right rates the whole 24 hours. So not all yolks have the same volume, and not all capillaries have the same flow. So for sure you will have a range of negative pressure after 24 hours. You cannot be that strict with your collection.
So what is the window? Except to 60 to 40 or?
Yeah, it's minus 60 to minus 40. If you find a job with this pressure, it's still a good collection. Yes? So that would be, let's say, minus 30. Minus 20, I will suspect of a leak in the line. So my job, or your job, change the holder. So that's why we need always spare holders when we are doing this work every day. If you see a yoke with this pressure, don't try to find the problem there. Just put a new holder that you know it works, of course. If you find a pressure at this value, change the holder. That just it's a blockage.
And if you do find breakages or suspected problems with your equipment in the field, put a bit of coloured tape on it so that someone doesn't pass it back to you as the next spare, and that you can actually go back to the lab and test it. If you don't, it gets very confusing.
So, before you work on the animals, check this one, hold it off. This one is connected. So write all the comments before we work on the animals.
Okay, so this one,
You check and see that everything is okay, and if anything doesn't look right, write a comment.